Hi, this is Warren Smith, and welcome to the State of the Republic podcast.
Good morning, afternoon, or night, wherever you might be listening to us, and welcome to your State of the Republic podcast. My name is Luis, and today I am joined by our podcast mom, Sharon, and Michael. But first, let's go to you, Sharon. How's it going?
It's going really good. I'm so excited to get going on this interview today. We have a super special guest, and I'll let him introduce himself.
Awesome. And let's go over to you, Michael. How's it going?
I'm doing well. I can't wait. Following the Super League information, and now we've got this great guest. I mean, it's awesome that we were able to get this to work out, and he found time in his busy schedule to talk to us.
Yeah, really looking forward to all the stories and just, I mean, he's such an amazing person that has brought so much joy into our lives and into the people in San Diego's lives as well. So, Sharon, would you like to introduce our guest tonight?
So on this episode, folks, our guest hardly needs an introduction. As you can tell, we have our charismatic and warm leader, entrepreneur, and co-founder of Sac Republic FC, Warren Smith. Warren currently works his magic for SD Loyal Soccer Club as president, but we all recall his massive contribution to Sacramento as president of the Republic. Many people knew you well. However, some have yet to get to know you. So let's dig in.
Absolutely. Let's go.
Pleasure.
And thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So I guess we'll start at the beginning there, Warren. What made the Sacramento Republic and the concept of a team in Sacramento such a fascinating idea for you?
Well, I mean, most people don't know that the Sacramento River Cats were involved in the AAA baseball team in Portland, and it came with this little team called the Portland Timbers. We actually tried to close it and had to keep it open to keep the baseball team alive, and we were there to just turn that around. So we had to learn the business and fell in love. That's where I fell in love with the whole concept of the relationship between fan and brand and a different demographic in sports. And so it was really all about making Sacramento a better place to live, work, and play, just using the beautiful game to do that.
Well, that's awesome. And of course, that's how it is now, and it continues to evolve. And it's really amazing how much our sport can go beyond just the sport. And I always say that, right? It brings people together, and people are doing community service, and it's just really amazing all that goes around with that.
Yeah, absolutely, Luis. I'll tell you, I really love this game because it's truly representative of the world. You know, we're a country of immigrants, and the game's played in all four corners of the world. It just hadn't been played here, and it's nice to see it really being adopted. But I think you just hit the head of the nail, and why I think the Sacramento Republic FC was so successful, and then frankly why we're successful so far here in San Diego. It's all about bringing people together, getting them to root for their hometown team, developing a brand that people feel a part of and feel ownership of, and then at the end of the day, have a great time together. I know many of the folks that at the Republic who met through the Republic and are best friends and that's really the difference that these type of things can really do. And, it brings, we all have a lot more in common that we have not in common. And, so that commonality and that I think is so special, and frankly, why the game I think is so important. And frankly, why Sacramento is so important to the rest of the country when it comes to soccer.
Yeah, now that you mentioned that, it's like, this podcast was born out of that, and I wouldn't have met Michael and Sharon if it wasn't for the Republic, of course. And I didn't really know anyone else living in Sacramento, and now I know so many people that we can go and have a good barbecue, which we're planning on doing so soon.
Absolutely.
So let's go ahead and go back to that really great day in 2013, Sac Soccer Day. Can you tell us more about how that came about and the details and all that?
Well, it was just a way for us to celebrate. I mean, first of all, at the time we hadn't had the game played at the highest level. So it was an effort for us to really showcase what could be possible in Sacramento. Yeah, if you remember, we brought Norwich City to play Dorado, Sinaloa. We had a game beforehand with the Earthquakes reserve squad against an all-star team that we put together. Frankly, that's when we really knew we were onto something, because the community just rallied and came out and just wanted to have a good time. And, it was so cool in so many ways. And there's so many things that happened that were so serendipitous to what led to a very successful enterprise, but also a lot of luck. I mean, if you might remember, at halftime we were rolling out our brand and we point to it, and by that time the curtain had already fallen halfway through, so you could see half of the brand. And it was so minor league in so many ways, but also so authentic and so organic. And we sold out of the T-shirts in literally minutes. And but most importantly, I think people came together and said, "Hey, this is something I can participate in and help to make a difference in." And I think it's pretty powerful. So that was kind of getting us on the map to show what was possible. We've had, numerous EPL teams come in and play at a high level against our team and had some success. I can't remember exactly who we beat. I think it was Sunderland. We tied Newcastle. We had a great game against Chivas. We played at the very, very, very high level. And frankly, that's what Sacramento deserves.
It's interesting. Some of the teams that we did bring in to play against us, some of the, these foreign teams, they end up being answers to our Jeopardy Live, because we have a Jeopardy Live show. And so, through all of the history that we've created in Sacramento, we use a lot of that history to create our Jeopardy Live answers. And so it just tests all of our fans, on the knowledge of Sacramento and Sacramento soccer when we do the Jeopardy questions. I think we really want to get Emra on at some point in time, because he'd probably kill it, as far as being able to answer everything. But are there any weird details about that? Not weird, but there's a lot of moving parts to put on what you did in 2013, with the Sac Soccer Day. Bringing teams in, housing them, I mean, all of that sort of stuff. Were there any odd and behind the scene things that were kind of tricky, super tricky, or did it just pretty much everybody did what they needed to do? Was there anything that stands out as being one of the trickiest things?
Well, keep in mind, there's a lot going on. We had UC Davis as a guest out that night. They sponsored that night. And our hope was that they really fell in love with what we were doing. So that's the one that stuck out for me, that, we spent time with the CEO, Ann Madden Rice, and the people that were, considering this. And we hadn't really pitched any ideas. But, after that event, they called the next day literally and said, "Hey, we want to be your kit sponsor. Tell us what we need to do." And that was really a response to the people. But, we were very fortunate. And Sharon, we had Graham Smith, who has put on a number, literally, probably 100 matches in the United States. And so we had a lot of experience on making sure that we could set this up right and have a good night. Make sure, number one, Graham knew what our goal was, and that was to make sure the two teams visiting us and the Earthquakes, that they were well taken care of, that they had a great time, and that they really liked what was coming on. And I think we just nailed it there. So much so that the Earthquakes became, as you know, a partner in in the club, from a development standpoint. And there's probably 1,000 things that went wrong, but I think like anything, when you look at what the night remembers, I think what people remember the most is how they felt as a community. And as a soccer community has been begging for this for a long time, to see that there was something that was possible to kind of meet their particular soccer needs. And then, a lot of people that didn't even know the game that were there, that just, started to be open to the concept of having a team to root for, and then ultimately, becoming big fans themselves. So Sac Soccer Day was massive success. So much so that I would recommend every new team to try to do that. We tried to do it here in San Diego, but we just didn't have enough time. We were awarded the franchise in June and didn't close out our ownership group until late August, and we made a decision then to play for the 2020 season.
Yeah.
Because we're so smart, let's go right after it, and of course,
just go right after.
So it does a lot of things on the business side. It you grow a database immediately. You get a list of customers, potential customers to reach out to.
Yeah.
So it was great night. Joe Wagner's responsible. It was ultimately his event. He and Erica and Brent Sasaki, they put it all on, and just really did a wonderful job. And the River Cats too. We couldn't have done it without the River Cats allowing us to play at their field, and couldn't be more thankful for what that day actually created for the people of Sacramento.
It was a beautiful night. I was there, and I remember walking the concourse and running into because soccer is such a small family. I ran into so many people I hadn't seen. Anyhow, speaking of people that
real quick, just this is the one that's making the noise. So that's Tiger.
Hi, Tiger.
Hi, Tiger.
Forgive me.
It's okay.
Quite all right. Yeah. No worries.
I'm shocked my cat hasn't walked in and done the same thing, because she usually does sometime during our podcast. She does the same thing. It's really quite fun. So Warren, that you made some wonderful friends here in Sacramento. You spent so much time here. You had so many friends. Who's like your number one phone call that you still keep in touch with, or maybe 2 or 3 people? Because that's what this was all about. We've made such a good community here.
Yeah, ironically, it's a number of the investors that we have, Mark Forney, John Janulius, and of course, Joe, it's hard to get Joe to return phone calls, but I do try to keep in touch with Joe a lot. From a fan standpoint, my next door neighbor, Kim Lederer, who is a big soccer fan. So she tells me and keeps me up to date on what's going on with the club, and of course, who's in our house and if they're a good neighbor or not. And so far they're good. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we're all probably going to be making a trek at some point in time, especially as restrictions are lifted, because San Diego is one of the places where I have friends.
You got one here.
Yeah, exactly. And I would love to take in a match there.
Yeah.
July 3rd, our first match, on ESPN2.
Dude, and it's the day before. Are you going to have fireworks? Wait a minute, that's probably a secret. Never mind.
No, it's not. It's not a secret. The game's currently scheduled at 11 a.m., so it can be on national TV. 11 a.m. They let us know that they're considering moving it back because there's an international match, but it'll be in the daytime, so no fireworks likely. Mm-hmm. So.
Okay.
So who needs fireworks when we're going to have fireworks on the pitch?
There you go.
Done. Well done.
Good point.
And it's us. It's us. Yeah. Understood.
Exactly.
I really want to go to that match for sure.
Me too.
Yeah, same. We're gonna do a road trip.
I like the way both teams play.
You realize
good game.
I rearranged a big community event in August so that I could come to when you're in town, and you better be at the match, because I'm going to
be at both of them. I think we August 28th and October 30th, I believe.
Yep. You're going to be ready for a big old hug. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll definitely have to say hello.
Yeah.
I'm going to go drink some beer with the Tower Bridge Battalion if they'll have me.
Oh, I think we can make that work.
Yeah.
I think they'll welcome you with
well
open
you
arms.
Should.
Now, as far as the plan with Sacramento, was it always the plan to move on from Sacramento and eventually expand your entrepreneurial expertise into another part of the league, or maybe just a different business setting? What were we thinking?
No, I think originally it was, listen, I love Sacramento, and I didn't really have any intentions and I saw myself retiring in Sacramento. The whole concept was, should we move up to a higher level, then, we could, roll over and maybe play a role going forward. But that just wasn't in the cards, with the new ownership group, and it's totally their prerogative. And at the end of the day, as I started to do some consulting, I learned that number one, I wasn't a consultant. I'm not. I like to be in. I like to feel like I'm swimming in the water and need to find the ocean. They had an effort down here in San Diego to, what was called, a Soccer City Initiative, which was a ballot measure to build a stadium, and it was unsuccessful. And
I remember that.
then the USL asked me to take a look at the market and see if I could make a recommendation to them. And I said, yeah, I'd recommend that you put a team here, and if you're open to it, I'd like to be the one to do so. And so it was an opportunity based. I grew up in Hawaii, so the other thing that I've realized since being here is that I'm halfway home. San Diego is very much a very laid back community. The people here are just incredibly nice, and all are in this together. And it's in SoCal, but it has, a disdain like we did in Sacramento for LA, but they don't need to express it. They know that their life is better. So I like to say that they don't have an inferiority complex, but they have a superiority complex, and are confident about that. But no, we love it here. And it's really more the opportunity to, do what I've learned, that one, I don't want to sound humble here, but that I'm pretty good at, but also something I love to do, and that is to build these things from scratch. I'm not the guy that's, going to come in and operate them long-term. That's for other people, but I'm the guy that can build it right, and hopefully build it around what the fans want, which is what I think Erica, Joe, Brent, and the entire team did such an excellent job in Sacramento for. They really understood the customers. They talked to everyone. I think a lot of people were surprised by the Republic, but they didn't see the months and months of research that went behind, how do we do this? What's the right name? What do people want in the club? How do they want us to act? And at the end of the day, I think, they deserve just a massive amount of applause for what they did. And I'm just the steward of the guy to help them develop their plan, or, realize their plan. So, I miss Sacramento, but I also realized that I didn't know enough about the rest of California, and I've just fallen in love with San Diego.
Well, Sacramento misses you too, Warren. I've been here my entire life, and I'm 33, and I think the River Cats, the Republic, I don't think Sacramento gets a new arena if they don't see what was going on just across the bridge and with the Republic. So, you want to stay humble, but I'll say it for you. I think you excel at what you do. I think you've done a great job, and I think you've definitely left a footprint in Sacramento for years.
Well, thank you, Big. Yeah, I really do appreciate your kind words, but I also recognize that in all those projects, I've been very, very lucky to be surrounded by great people. Art Savage and the River Cats, Bob Hemond. Obviously his wife Susan and Jeff, who run it now, just fantastic people who believe in the community and are always trying to do the right thing. And then, of course, the staff and the ownership group that we had in the Republic was just massive. I think most of the people, most of the ownership just were in awe of what we were able to accomplish, and obviously are hopeful that Sacramento can figure it out and find a way to get there. And at the end of the day, because it's what the community deserves, I believe.
Well, and you helped create that foundation, and there's got to be some kind of sadness and a little melancholy to see that, we had the up and down and really up, and now it's kind of like, now what? But anyhow, I'll let Luis get to the next question, because that's kind of where we stop that conversation.
Yeah, and hopefully it stays up. At the end of the day, we're doing this podcast here to promote the game. And I think looking at it just from overall, I really think that the Republic has actually helped grow the sport here in the Central Valley, right? We've seen some players come out of it. Some players have gone onwards. It's been really amazing seeing their trajectory and getting to their ultimate goal of reaching professional level too. Um,
Absolutely. I agree.
so you've definitely done a really good job with San Diego too. And of course, we've only seen the Loyal for 1 year, and sadly last year we couldn't have people in the stands, but I know plenty of Loyal fans, and I know how loyal, to put it in better
Mhm.
words, that they can be to that club. But I'm curious, when you were, organizing the club and whatnot, how were you able to get, the person who I consider to this day legendary American soccer player, Landon Donovan, involved in this project?
Well, I mean, I had the fortune of meeting Landon when he was obviously, we had great success. I think it was either 2000, late 2000 or mid 2015, maybe early 2016, where he had a bye week and came up to Sacramento for lunch just to see what was going on. He brought, I think, his agent, Rich Moskin, and we had Kevin Nagel and I and some others had lunch with him. And he sat right across from me in that meeting and literally was just peppering me with questions. And what I loved about it, you could see that he was really, really interested in learning. And he was like, literally, what are you guys doing? How are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Well, and it was a lot of who, what, when, where, why, and how questions, and which we always try to train our staff. If you're going to ask questions, make sure you can ask a question that people can respond to. Yes or no questions don't get you anywhere, but if you can get people to open up, and so a who, what, where, why, and how question ultimately get people to. So I was doing all the talking, giving them all this information, and I just loved how he was just like eating it up. So keeping in mind the Soccer City initiative, he was very much a leader of, and I knew he put his heart and soul into that, and wanted to. I knew in his heart he was doing it for the right reason. He married a lady from this region, and they decided to move home. I think 2 or 3 years before the Soccer City initiative, and he's fallen in love with this region. I just reached out to him and said, hey, why don't we just grab a cup of coffee? I want to share with you what I'm up to. And when we first met, he had a lot of scar tissue. The whole bond initiative, or that whole initiative, really divided the community down here, and he was unfortunately on the losing side. And so he, still had some emotions. And I said, man, no worries. You just think about what you want to accomplish in your life. And if there's a way we can accomplish something together here in San Diego, make a difference together. And, San Diego, is the most underserved professional sports market in the country. It's probably the soccer capital of the United States. It just doesn't know it yet. And so if you wanted to play a role, then let's figure out, what you want to accomplish. So it was a series of conversations. Keeping in mind, I keep building and keep garnering traction. And I think he did some real soul searching on what he really wanted to do. And some people will think that he wanted to be a coach, but that wasn't it. What he shared with me is, it's like he said, he had the value of being really mentored by some men in his life. And he really wanted to mentor kids to help them, be, better players, but even more so better men. That's when I knew, gosh, I got to have this guy. We got to find a way to partner. And fortunately, in that meeting, he, said he wanted to, be in charge of the soccer operations. We tried to define what that meant, knowing that he's going to learn a lot and make mistakes. And his admission, he has made plenty, as we all have. But no, I think we just hit it off, and it's a blessing in so many ways. He obviously brings a lot of notoriety, but I, put that aside. That's like that's kind of like the cherry on the top. But it's really, the substance is the fact that he's just a wonderful man, and frankly, I think he's misunderstood, because I think there's a lot of people that don't think he's that, or that wonderful man. Or just because they don't get to know him, but inside there, he's just really, really desirous of learning. really wanted to make a difference in people's lives. And that to me is, if we can do that, again, it's not, people will remember, they won't remember what you did for them, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. And, without giving a name, we had a player with us last year. He's now on an MLS club, and that club has touted him, and he keeps going on about how San Diego reignited his love for the game. And there are other players that have said the exact same thing. So, I mean, that's again, a testament to his leadership, how he runs the team. He's both hands-on and hands-off. We have other people, Nate Miller, who really probably runs the bulk of the practices, but he spends his time really talking to each player and then personally coaching each player. So he's, getting to spend more deeper time with each individual. And because I think the world of him, I think the world of what he's done with us so far. He's got a great staff, and frankly, I love our men. I used to call the Republic boys. If you remember it, I would say, "Let's go, boys," or come on, and I realized just how much both at Sacramento and here, that these are true men, and frankly deserve to be called that. And so we're very excited. We're excited about our future. Excited about this upcoming season. We're a good team. Like everyone, we probably all think that we're the best team right now, but we recognize that we got a couple holes, not necessarily in positions, but we're just not necessarily that deep. So we'll see what happens, and we're excited about the play in Sacramento and hopefully getting a couple W's, 4 of them to be exact.
Oh, well, there it
Agree to
is.
disagree on that portion, but I gotta say, I love Landon. For me, is like a god. Growing up, prior to Sac Republic, I was an Earthquakes fan. Obviously, he had a tremendous time there. And obviously, we don't know him as well as you do, but you can see it. It exudes from him, his mentoring. You see it when he pulls players to the side and discusses the game with them. You can see his passion and his love for the game. It's great. I couldn't imagine a better coach for the area. The way the team's being run and built, he fits it to a T. You can see it.
You realize we all think we're connected to Landon in some way. It's like, no, I'm the most important person, that knows Landon, but but that's what Landon has created. He's created this wake of followers. If you think of a boat passing by and creating this ripple effect, because I went to all the playoff matches for the Earthquakes. I traveled down to when I traveled to go see the Earthquakes play in all of their MLS Cup matches. I saw them all, so, wow. And Landon was the feature when he was with the Earthquakes and then with the Galaxy. So it's big time. We follow him, and I loved him on the national team. I really thought that he was, like you said, one of the most misunderstood players on the national team. And I don't know that the national team knew how to play to his strengths to really get better for him anyhow.
Oh, yeah, as you know, Sharon, I'm not like everyone knows in the Republic that I know that I played one game of soccer and broke my leg, so I don't know the game that well.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't answer on that, but what I can answer on is that, number one, he really views the game as a tool to make our communities a better place, and as an example, right? I think we proved that we are not an organization that just talks. We actually act. And, we had the unfortunate incidences last year where we had a player called the N-word, and a player called the only openly gay player, called the faggot word. And
right.
It was just so unfortunate. And, his team doesn't just know each other. They know each other deeply, and they've had, deep conversations well before that. Right. And so this happens, and, he's getting a sense of what the team might want to do, and lets us know at halftime what he, thinks that they're probably going to do. And it was to, if the player who said this wasn't going to be called off, then that they're going to walk off the field. And keeping in mind our playoffs, we didn't know at the time that that it didn't matter if we won or not, but it ended up being where it didn't matter. But, we were still in the playoff hunt, and it was a big decision for us to walk off. But it was an easy one because we have these core values that we ask our employees to live by. And Landon just doesn't live by them. He embodies them. And when he came off the field and he said, I said, Landon, just tell me, anytime somebody makes a decision, they want to know what to do, tell me how they live to our values, and then they'll get my support. We can always talk about, how they made that decision and ultimately, what they might have been able to do differently, but they're never making a wrong decision. And so he said, in our core values, commitment and connection, and we have these connections to these kids, and we have a commitment to them, and that means each and every one of them. And so this is what happened. This is what the players want to do. I said, okay, you've got our support. My point, though, if the whole George Floyd thing's going, had gone on, every damn sports team in the country just did a nice hashtag, and we actually had deep conversations on, because that's all we could do in Zoom, right? It's just talk. And so we had actually talked well in advance of this thing happening and said, what are we going to do? And, when that unfortunate circumstance happened, we had no idea that it would happen so soon. But we had said, whatever we do, we're not just going to talk, we're going to act. In fact, it's that bracelet. I will speak and I will act right there.
Yeah.
And it just means no more. I had learned as a white male that I'd been on the sidelines. I had learned that when things had happened before, I didn't step out, and despite a human being being treated the wrong way. And so no longer are we going to put up with that. And so my point, though, in bringing this up is that, Landon's very much a principled man. He believes deeply that if we're going to act or say we're going to do something, then we need to do it. And frankly, I'm very proud of the league for, rolling out the Forever Proud program, and like to think that we played a small part in that. And so we couldn't feel more blessed, and with the difference that we're making in our own local community as it relates to these type of things, because it's we have programs that we've rolled out that are literally conversations with people to kind of break barriers down. So, but that doesn't happen without a man that really is, believes in this core that everyone's equal.
We love that.
He's a legend on and off the pitch, and that's really awesome when you get such high profile players that retire and they're still amazing people, and not like other players that we've heard stories of. So
hey, I'm going to shift gears a little bit here for you.
Yeah.
I'm going to shift gear. I'm going to talk a little. I want your take on, you have Shannon McMillan and Paul Buckle as your senior advisors. Tell us a little bit about their duties alongside Landon and you. I mean, because Shannon's awesome, and Paul Buckle was ours, and now he's yours. So, it's kind of cool.
Well, listen, part of the thing for Landon was to make sure that, because he didn't have some experience, to see if we could bring a little bit of experience to him. Obviously, I don't know a lot of people in the game, but I knew Paul and made the introduction, and they kind of hit it off. He did some early work for us. He's currently not doing that work, but he's very much an advisor to me. I mean, I pick up the phone all the time and call him and say, how would you handle this? And Shannon, on the other hand, is very active. She runs a youth program here, the Sharks, and is, our play-by-play person. So she's the Kevin Goldthwait of the Loyal, and also is the lead person with our interaction with the local youth soccer community. She's one of the most respected people within that community, and we wanted somebody that they could, that everyone could trust. She's also, as we are contemplating, what we might do in the women's game, playing a key role in that, and helping to plan. And she's just an unbelievable human being, and gosh, what a blessing to have her on our team. We're blessed all across the board. I get lucky every now and then, and fortunately, I was lucky in the Republic, and I think I'm even more lucky here. Our team is just, massively caring people, and are trying and work hard to just make this, a great community. But we always have to have advisors and people that can guide us. And so very, very excited that I'll continue to work and ask Paul and, for help. And then Shannon, obviously, and from a day-to-day standpoint, is on our leadership team and plays a key role for us. She's also leading our LEA. She actually sits on the USL's Impact Committee on our behalf. As an openly gay woman, and making sure that she can share her perspective and our team's perspective of, how we might set things up with the league, and making sure that we're equal to everyone.
That's awesome. Now, I know typically you would help get teams started off the ground. You do so much more than that. But what's a typical day for you consist of, like on the background side of things?
Well, I think Joe would tell you I got in the way more than I did than I needed to. So, but I've had to learn and grow through the process here in San Diego. We put together a plan, and we're a lot more forward thinking in our planning, and so a lot less we had to, in Sacramento, we were always behind and always reactionary. COVID allowed us to catch up and put some really good plans together. We had to think through the COVID situation. Where did we think we would end up? And that plan, was, the plan is ultimately each department's goals and objectives. So my job is just to help each of them accomplish what they want to accomplish. And that may be a resource issue. Do we have the right resources in place? Do we need to raise additional money? Do we need to garner a certain sponsor for something? But at the end of the day, I'm a servant leader, just there to serve the people that are there, and at the end of the day, help them accomplish what they're trying to accomplish. So it's all over the board. Most of the time, it's talking to people and just kind of getting them excited about who we are, our programs. We have 6 different community initiatives that are, key focuses for us. And, it's finding out, who can we partner on those programs. That's the way we will market. That's the way we will make a difference in the community for the next 5 to 7 years. So we spend most of our time, it seems, on those. The selling of tickets is always happening on the background, the selling of sponsorships, and we're fortunate to have a really good team. We're hitting all of our objectives currently. And I'm really excited that Gavin Newsom decided to open up the state effective June 15th. So July 3rd, we should have the ability to have 100% attendance, which means we can actually potentially, I don't know how many extra tickets we're going to be able to fit, for the Republic fans. So, once they go on sale, they should buy them fast.
Unless we get special media tickets, right?
That or how much are your VIP tickets, Warren?
More expensive than Sacramento.
Oh, brutal. Yikes. You trying to steer me away from those? Okay, fine.
Sorry, my computer's moving everywhere.
Oh, you're all right. If I could take a little out of left field here, Warren.
Yeah.
Obviously today, the big news is the Super League. Do you have any thoughts on it as far as maybe it just got implemented the wrong way? Maybe they went about it the wrong way. I don't know. Maybe you think it's a good idea. I'm a huge Liverpool supporter, so I'm very torn on this. FSG, I think they could have went about it a different way.
Well, listen, I think that's why I'm, the games in the United States, the game's changing all over the world, right? And, but it's changing even at a higher rate here in San Diego, in the United States. We, who knows where we're going to be in 2026, right? And as leagues continue to try to monetize more, they're going to have to go across borders, and that's in essence what this Super League was about. I think FIFA was kind of, it's interesting, they're, not necessarily supporting it publicly, but behind the scenes, they sure seem to be pushing it. So it's obviously an economic opportunity for some people. And I just think, I think when you build things around fans and what fans want, you have a higher chance of success. And I don't think that there was any true interaction or they might have done some polling, but I think they're getting the answers that they were looking for. And at the end of the day, I don't know. Does it's a stretch, right? Cause it changes the game pretty dramatically. It makes it, a game for the elite clubs and not necessarily for the non-elite clubs. And what you have in Europe is, it's surprising every year you got a team or two that, surprises the heck out of you. And, that could go away, right? So I don't have a real opinion other than I think it could have been handled so differently. But everyone keeps asking, hey, where are you going to MLS? And I say, no, we're going to the Super League, baby.
Yeah,
Super League San Diego, here we come.
Well, where else is there after USL? It is MLS, and then the Champions League here locally. But that's all based on merit and performance versus just forming a brand new league. So. Yeah,
listen, I think it's like the purists are going to have trouble with it, and I think it's amazing that it was rolled out yesterday and it's already off the table. So, it clearly wasn't done the right way. And, for Goldman, who was it? JP Morgan brought $4.3 billion to help make that happen. That's a lot of money to put up, right? So, and, people usually don't put that type of money up unless they're going to get something in return. So
exactly.
Exactly. The more we make this and really focus on the commercial aspect of the game, the less the fans will want to participate. The one thing I learned in Portland was that, and I think this is what's true in Sacramento, it's definitely true in San Diego. There's not necessarily a love for Wall Street, on Main Street, if you know what I mean. And these clubs, it's all, and I think that's the problem in professional sports in the United States. It's become all about the money. And I think there are some clubs that can really balance it, or teams that can really balance it and do it well. 49ers, for example. It's I don't know. It's sad. I'm sorry to elaborate and not give you a really hurrah answer. I think we need to do more authentically interacting with people, and then that will grow the game. That will grow the game massively.
Well, you definitely laid the groundwork here for that authenticism. And, obviously we're seeing that duplicated in San Diego. And it's almost as though, Warren, you have that touch, you know how that one works. Like you said, you're going to apply the skills that you have and that you have. And we really appreciate you spending some time with us. So is there anything you want to say to the fans who are going to be tuning in and watching the podcast or listening to this podcast? And we want to give you that platform to just give us your love and whatever else you'd like to say to us.
Yeah, listen, thank you. Of course, I would love for everyone to try to track us and follow us, but I'm a realist to know that, you're going to want to follow your own team. And I think you need to do that. I think you need to be big fans of the Republic. I think you need to go out to matches. I think you need to ask to participate and let the club know that you have a voice and you want to exercise that voice and be a part of it. That's they're in a difficult spot right now. It's obviously, I feel for Kevin and what they're going through, but it is what it is. And at the end of the day, Sacramento deserves what we were on the doorstep of. And, just don't sit back, participate, help, support, watch, and advocate. Right. So, the biggest thing that for American soccer that Sacramento can do is make sure that the Republic are successful. And the groundwork has been laid. I think the world of Todd Donovan. I think I haven't talked to him since he's taken over, but he is he's a very, very quality individual. So I think you got a really good leader there, and I think at the end of the day, he's going to do right by the club. And I just ask that you don't stay silent, man. It takes a village, and that's what we tell everyone down here. It's you haven't. I mean, they haven't had they have a lot of scar tissue down here because of all the teams that have left, most notably the Chargers and the Clippers. But that scar tissue is deep. 48 teams that have left this community over time, and but as we get out and talk to people, it's really been, hey, it's up to each and every one of us to make a difference in our community. And I just think that this is the perfect platform for people to want to make a difference. And you can start by just going to a match. You can start by buying some gear, and you can reach out to the club and ask where they need help. And I'm sure they can come up with an idea or two for you to help. But it truly does take a village. And especially now's the time for the community to come together and support Kevin and support the ownership group to get there. And I know our ownership group, the previous ownership group, has reached out and has asked, what can we do to be helpful? How can we be a part of the solution? At the end of the day, it's up to Kevin to really and the operating team to figure out how that happens. But as long as he knows that there are people behind him, and as long as he knows that he's got support in the community, then I think at the end of the day he'll be successful.
Excellent words. Excellent words. Michael, Luis, anything else you want to ask the master of magic in soccer for us and in our USL area?
Yeah, all I gotta say is, those words were amazing. That is exactly the same mentality that we've talked about it offline, that we really want the fans to have that, to show their support, go on social media, just showcase to the world that we have a lot of support there. When they open the stadium up, fill the stadium up once they allow more fans. But even this Saturday, we're going to be filling up the seats that we're allowed to actually be in. And so we really want to showcase to the world that, we have people that are supporting, and it is a really great ROI for anyone who steps in because the support is there. So, and thank you so much for being on.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, who do you play Saturday? And that's a preseason match, I'm assuming?
Monarchs.
The Monarchs.
Monarchs.
Oh, good. Yeah, good. Yeah. The Butterflies.
We just destroyed Oakland.
Yeah, they just took a player from us today, as a matter of fact.
They
so
need
beat
all
them.
the players they
Beat
can
them
get right now.
Well, we don't have Reno. We used to just pound on Reno and LA Galaxy too. Los Dos. Everybody, those are the teams that we used to rival with, and now it's like we have these really nice teams that we rival with. Because the Roots, very similar to you, they have like a whole mentality that they're embodying, and a lot of it comes from their coach. And where they're from. They're gonna do their community first, just like with San Diego Loyal, and kind of just like with Sacramento. So how do you go into a rivalry with against teams in those mentalities? But I guess we gotta strap them on. Either that, or we're just always going to be hitting Orange County and hitting Phoenix. Well, they're not Phoenix anymore. I think they're called Tucson. Whatever. Because they're
handball, right?
No, they're still Phoenix. Well, is it because they moved halfway to Tucson? Is that what
exactly? I think they're called Tucson now. It's kind of like,
that's funny.
Should we call LA Galaxy, or do we just call them Carson?
Carson
whatever.
City Galaxy.
Hey, there's one more thing I'd like to add, if you don't mind. So I'm sorry if I'm keeping you long, but
no.
I think if you think about, I know the goals MLS, but the USL is pretty damn special. And I think the Sacramento Republic Football Club meant more to the people in Sacramento. I think New Mexico United means more to the whole people in the state of New Mexico than the Galaxy mean to, the LA area. And it's because we really, we're community-based teams, and our league just has, different approach than Major League Soccer. It's how do we build a club from the ground up? It's almost like what happened in Europe, 100 years ago when the barkeeps ran these clubs and they're community owned. And, the barkeep had to, keep selling his beer. And if he didn't listen to his fans, they stopped coming in to buy the beer. So he had to learn to listen. And that's what the sport has grown up on. And I think that's really special. I'm not saying that MLS doesn't listen. I just think we have a better opportunity because, we're really, organic and interacting with the community in a very intentional way, right? Sacramento does that, I know, and they continue to do that because we set it up that way. And the group that is operating it now continues to do that. We do it in San Diego, and it makes a bigger difference. When you can actually develop the relationships with these people face to face and not just with the brand. So I'd say, also just excuse my language, have some fucking fun right now and enjoy it, right? Because it's pretty special. And I think the brand that we all developed together there in San Diego is Sacramento is very special, and it's one that is gonna stand the test of time. And Kevin may be the steward today, but he's not the owner. The owner is every one of you who emotionally follow this club. You're the emotional owners, and he may be the steward, but at the end of the day, if you truly feel like you're an owner emotionally, then we've accomplished magic. And I know that's who they are and what they're doing. And so excited to play you guys. Just take it easy on us. Tell Todd to take it easy on us. Mark to take it easy on us.
Hey, we've got Mitch Tainter back, and we've got some guys. We've got some good defenders. You're going to find out. We're pretty thick. We're pretty solid. They did a really good job getting this team built for the season. So look out. Look out.
Oh, I'm looking. I'm looking.
Hey, I'll buy you a beer when you're up.
Yeah. How about 3?
All right, we'll do it. And do we have to have them in paper cups or?
No. Do we?
I know. No, we don't. Not anymore.
Well, that's your and my secret.
Not anymore.
They were coffee cups.
It was coffee, Warren. You always had a fresh pot of coffee going in there.
I did.
Yeah,
that was it wasn't coffee. I agree.
We had the best of times.
They were. Well, hey, Luis and Michael, it's nice to meet you both. And
pleasure.
Listen, thank you for having me on. And I wish you the best of luck, except for the 4 days that we play you. July 3rd. Oh gosh, I can't remember the
August something or another.
August 8th, August 28th, and then August 30th or October 30th.
Yeah. Okay.
We appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
we'll have to stop you when you're up and we've got the live going. We're going to catch you and say, hey. All right.
Yeah, that's probably the best time to introduce Landon. So.
Okay.
Better.
Love you and miss you, Warren.
We really
miss you guys too. Yeah, thank you. Continued success. Have fun.
Likewise.
And look forward to seeing you here soon.
Okay,
Likewise.
We'll let you know when it's up. You'll get a notice. We'll tag you in our social media.
Sounds good. Yeah, you guys take care. All right.
Have a good night.
Bye.
You too.
Bye, Mom. Bye, Mom.
Bye.
That was awesome.
Well, men, we just had one of our best interviews, I think, of the season with Warren, who has such good wisdom and such great words. And, I feel very enthused and very pumped up after that interview, and just listening to the situations that he's been presented with and how he's dealt with things and his advice to all of us. The man is wise beyond his years. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I've got to agree. I loved what he had to say, especially when he was discussing MLS doesn't need to be the end all be all for this community. That this team is so much more than that. Not to mention the authentic romanticism of it all. It's nice to have this homegrown feel of a team that brings the community together. And as much as I would love MLS, I'd be lying if I said I didn't. You lose some of that when you become a brand bigger than what you've got now. It loses a little bit of the flavor to it. So I couldn't agree with him more, and he was very humble, and it was nice to hear. But he has a tremendous impact on this community. Growing up here and remembering what downtown and even Cal Expo, for that matter, the Arden area used to look like compared to where it's at today. It's day and night. I loved it. It was a great interview, and I really appreciate Warren coming on and spending some time with us like that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's so awesome how humble he is and easy to talk to. Really great person that, thanks Sharon for helping us set up this interview. I've always said it, but between Warren and Joe, and I've gotten the chance to speak to Joe in person as well, and we owe a lot to both of them. And I know Michael, Sharon, both of you can agree too that this has helped us really not just get to know each other, but we've gone to experience more of the city. We've gone to experience so many different, unique, interesting stories at games. From one game where it was pouring rain, that it was crazy that I was still there, to seeing some really interesting Open Cup matches that are forever going to be in our memories. And so it's really amazing that it took their initiative. They planted the seeds. It's now grown into this forest where we have so many people out there that are big time fans, that root for the club, that are going to support the club whether MLS happens or not. And we did that poll on Twitter that clearly showed that people are going to back Republic whether we hear the announcement happens or whether we hear that everything is going back. And that is really how it should be, right? Because at the end of the day, this is our club. We really love our club, and MLS shouldn't change that, right? Because we supported this club when it was in USL, and we should still support it being in USL. And as you guys said, there's other benefits that go along with that, because we're able to still have a club that is accessible to everyone. We get to meet the players, which we've had the opportunity to do so here thanks to the podcast, but even fans can meet players after the games, and you lose all that essence of people getting to know the players in the community, inviting them over to eat like Sharon does, which all the players are extremely grateful for. And I think it's really amazing that you get to do that, and that you offer your house to them to come down and get a really delicious meal. And so really great things like that. And with MLS, you start to have more restrictions. So there's good out of a situation that might not feel like it's the best. And I think people need to realize those things, right? And not always live in the memory that, whether this happened or not, like, they played around with us. Because at the end of the day, situations happen, right? No one was expecting COVID. And I'm sure we can all think of some of our favorite businesses that maybe closed down, and sadly they left. I can think there was a really good Mexican restaurant in my town that is gone. So yeah,
sorry.
I know.
I'm so sorry. I think we've lost a few of our favorite restaurants. Hey, I may have jumped the gun in kind of like talking about this weekend real quick, but I posted the banner for what's happening this weekend, and Luis is going to have the live thing going, the live feed going. And so look for any one of us knuckleheads on, on your favorite live feed for us and for the match. And we'll give you a different perspective than you may find elsewhere. So don't forget to tune in for that for this weekend. And what else, you guys?
Yeah, no, that is going to be something else. I mean, we did say the club might have a live feed as well, but once I get to the stadium, I'm just going to go right straight to it live so you guys could see how it looks like, to attend a match during this time, all the precautions that are being taken and whatnot. And of course, we're also going to give our halftime reactions and after the game as well. Might be on the pitch, might not be on the pitch. We'll have to figure out that situation, but we're going to at least give you guys that insight. And we are planning to keep on doing that throughout the season. But for this first game, I thought, let's show you guys what it looks like if you're not able to attend the match. We'll show you what or how things look like in this world that we're in now. But come June, that we're all going to be able to be there. So, the good thing is that in June, we should all be there. Maybe even for the May 29th game against Handball Rising. You guys might be able to be there. But yeah, so really cool. Look forward to that. And if you are not following us on our social media, go follow us right now so you're able to hit that button and figure out when we go live for the after game and the halftime. The live time might be a little different, but I'm going to try and be there as early as I can be. I'm not quite sure when they're going to open the gates yet. I haven't heard anything on that, but as early as I can be there, I'm going to try and be there. But at the very least, I should be there an hour before and gates should be there. So be on the lookout for that. And if you see me, feel free to say hi if you're one of the lucky fans that actually gets to be there in the game. But yeah, so really exciting. Well, thank you so much to everyone for watching and listening to our podcast interview tonight. Again, we are going to be at the stadium this Saturday. So if you see us, say hi. And if you want to tune in, go ahead and please tune into our live shows there and give us your thoughts on the game, right? We haven't seen the team in a long time. And ironically, the last time we saw the team was basically against the same team back when, or I should say when I saw the team, because I saw the last friendly, which was against the Monarchs as well. So really, it's been a year and like 2 months. So we're really excited. Really stoked. Michael might also be there too, hopefully, if it works out.
Yeah, I'm going to try my best to get out there. I'm also trying to see if I can get out to the LA game, but I've been looking for tickets and they seem to be impossible to find. I don't know what the protocol is out there right now, but I don't see any single game tickets or anything like that.
Oh, yeah, we'll have to check up on that. I feel like they should still. There should be some 2,300 tickets at least, and you shouldn't have a problem if it's Los Dos fans, right? Because we all know that maybe only 10 fans, if anything, go. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time here on State of the Republic podcast.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.